Okay, little little Bible lesson here for you today. This applies to all of you that are trying to create more income out there. But maybe you've heard of things like money is the root of all evil. You can't make wealth, things like that. If you've heard those things or those cliches have been pounded into your brain, I know for me, they were when I was a kid, like the money is the root of all evil. That is probably one of the misquoted verses from the Bible. It doesn't mean or say that money is actually evil. Now, the intent of a man or woman's heart, that could be evil. Whether you have the money or you don't have the money, that could be the thing that's actually evil. I want to go through, like, there's nowhere in the Bible that does it say that we're not supposed to go out and be good stewards and create money and bless other people. Nowhere does it say that. It does say things like we're not supposed to stack up treasures. Yes. But I like, for me, I went on this quest to try to figure out, should I be earning a lot of money or should I not? And I want to pull up just 3 simple Bible verses for you. Okay. 3 simple ones today. And we can talk more about this. If you've got questions on this, then go ahead, put them in the chat, put them in the comments, and I'll make sure that they get addressed. But really simple. First, I'm going to go to Proverbs. This is like, the guiding principles of life right here. Proverbs number 4. It's not the 10 Commandments. These are just guiding principles. Okay. But it says, the soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing. What does that mean? That means that if someone's lazy, they're often dream about having the big thing or having some accomplishment, but they get nothing. Okay. They get nothing. They have nothing. Now, on the contrary, it says, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. The soul of the diligent shall be made rich. What does that mean? What do you think that means? The soul of the diligent shall be made rich. So I believe what that means is that those of us who go out there and just make it happen, we go plant seeds that later grow into some kind of harvest. Those are the people that get the blessings. Those are the people that make their wealth. Okay. Now, this is kind of like, the contrasting of sides. I want to take it to another level here. And I'm going to go to 1 Timothy. Okay. 1 Timothy 5:8. If you want to look it up, you can look it up yourself in any translation of the Bible. I happen to be reading from the New Living Translation right now. It says, this is the consequences if we're not providing, if we're not doing the things that are producing the income that we need. The consequence goes, but for those who won't care for their relatives, especially the people in their own household, they have denied true faith. It goes on to say that such people are worse than unbelievers. Imagine that. Like, that's a pretty bold statement. Like, it's basically saying, hey, if you're not providing for your family, especially the people in your immediate household, that's worse than being an unbeliever. So that means, like, if you're an unbeliever, then you might as well kiss heaven goodbye. It's not going to happen if you're not a believer. So if you're not providing for your family, then it's the same as being an unbeliever. You're out. You're not going to make the cut when you go stand in front of God someday and he says, cast judgment and says, hey, were you a good steward with your life, with the resources that I gave? If you weren't providing for your family, I'm so sorry. It's worse than being an unbeliever. That's 1 Timothy 5:8. Okay. I know that sounds tough. Let me give you a little bit lighter one. Okay. I'm going to go to Matthew 25, starts on 14. It goes through 30, Matthew 25. This is also the same exact story, can be found in the book of Luke. It's so cool because when you go through the Gospels of the New Testament, what you'll find is that there's so many correlations because they're telling the same story often. And it just kind of goes to prove, I know that there's subtleties that are different in how they tell them from their point of view, but it's so cool because all these stories correlate. So it's found in the book of Luke and the book of Matthew. It's Jesus telling a parable about basically a master that's going to go away for a while. He gives 3 of his servants sums of money. Okay. He calls them talents. The talents can be referred to as gold coins. They could be referred to as talents that we have within. However you want to interpret it can be interpreted. Well, I'm sure that there was a deliberate way that it was supposed to be, but I'm going to take this and translate it to gold coins for now. Okay. So the 3 servants receive money from their master. Master goes away for a long time. He comes back and he calls in the servants and says, hey, what'd you do with the money? How'd you invest it? What'd you make for me? The first servant comes up and says, hey, master, I took what you gave me and I doubled it. Here's the doubling. Here's all the extras that I have back. And he says, you good and faithful servant, I'm going to put you in charge of more. The second servant steps forward and he says, hey, master, I also doubled mine. Here it is. And the master looked at it and said, great, you good and faithful servant. I shall put you in charge of a lot more now too. And the third servant steps up and says, master, I knew that you were a tough man. He says shrewd in the Bible. I knew that you were a tough man and I didn't want to make you upset or mad. So I buried it. I buried under a rock in the dirt and I went back and dug it up and here's your gold coin back. And the master says, you lazy person, why'd you do that? You could have at least put it in the bank and made interest off the bank in a savings account. In the terminology in the Bible, it talks about making usury. Well, that's basically interest. You should have at least put it in the bank and made interest. And now that's a parable for our lives. Okay. So like all of us have the same amount of time in a day. We do. All of us have the same amount of time in the day. I am the son of a mechanic. My dad's a very good man. He worked hard all of his life and he did the best that he knew how to do with his time. He had the same amount of time as one of my friend's dads. My friend's dad, he owned a mechanic shop. Literally, he was the owner. Him and his brother were the two owners, and he was the owner. And so his dollars per hour were much more significant than my father's dollars per hour. My dad was an employee at an organization. Nothing wrong with that. Just like if you measure purely on like the fruit that was gained for time, the amount of fruit that was gained for time for my friend's father was much more, significantly more. They were able to bless a lot of households. They were able to bless my life and my friend's life and things like that. They just got to do more because they got more from the time that they were put on this earth. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong to be an employee. It's not at all. I am saying that we just need to be good stewards of our time. We need to be good stewards of the resources that we're given. If we're giving a lump sum of money, or if we're giving a task or some talent that we have that is unique that we should be, putting out there for the world, then we should be doing that. One day we're all going to go stand in front of the Father and we're going to give a testament of what we did with the talents that we had, with the gold that we have. And I'll tell you right now that the more you do with the little that you have, the more you are rewarded. That's just how it works in life. It's no different. Like I started doing single family rental properties. That was like my break from being an employee into the whole entrepreneurship world. Started with single family rental properties. In those single family rental properties, I earned the trust of a lot of investors because I'd get in there and I'd fix them, I'd do them right, and I'd produce income from them. And then eventually I had earned my stripes, so to speak. So when I brought an apartment building forward to a group of investors, they said yes. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing. I've had the opportunity to do some other really cool stuff in real estate, 100% a blessing from above. I know that, but it started with the small stuff. When we manage the small stuff well, then we're rewarded with larger stuff. So, I hope that this can be a positive lesson for you. I don't mean it to be like all the negative, like, it says right here, the soul, this is back in Proverbs, the soul of a lazy man desires, but has nothing, but the soul of the diligent man shall be rich. Like, I don't mean for it to be all like harsh. Instead, let's take the parable of the talents from Matthew and from Luke. Let's just go out there and double what God gave us. Whatever you have now, let's just make it our mission to double it. Okay. Then it doesn't matter what your starting block is. Just go out there and double. Okay. And you can do it. You can, as long as you find a good, safe business opportunity for yourself or investment opportunity for yourself, you can double it. If you don't have capital resources, then I would look at the time that you're given. What can you do to maximize the time that you're given? I'll tell you what, right now, Netflix isn't going to earn any stripes going into heaven. It's not. Maybe a documentary that educates you to do more and serve the world more, but watching the next season of Yellowstone or whatever it is these days that's popular, that's not going to be the thing that earns us our stripes at all. It's not going to be the thing that earns us more income 99% of the time. So I just encourage you to take the time that you have, take the resource that you have, the investment capital that you have, and put them towards good. Work on doubling. Okay. All right. That's it for today. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. If you got questions, go ahead, put them in the chat. Hustle Minds, nice to see you as well here this morning. Case, nice to see you. I love the questions you guys are sending in, and we're going to keep diving into this stuff. I will get back to more real estate focused stuff on Friday. I will go deep on real estate. This whole week, I'm a little bit, I got a lot going on. We've got 350 people coming to a live event with us. It's live online, like virtual. And so I'll be there just like serving for 3 days and really digging deep in the real estate stuff. But I'll check in on Friday and just come at you with some more real estate stuff too. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. God bless.